Hey, what's up, guys? This is Johnny from the Geekly Grind. I'm here with another board game overview and review. Today we're doing Nemesis by Awaken Realms. This is a 1 to 5 player semi-cooperative survival horror game based in the Aliens universe. Technically they can't say that because of copyright issues, but I'm going to say it because that's basically what it is. If you don't know Awaken Realms already, they're a Polish board game manufacturing company and creator company. They have made This War of Mine, they've made Lords of Hellas, they just had a huge Kickstarter this year for Tainted Grail, and Nemesis is from last year. This game made gross over $4 million in the Kickstarter alone. You can see it is a behemoth of a game. I mean, it's huge, it's heavy, it's super detailed, so we're going to go over it and let's see how it goes. Okay, so here I've got a basic setup for 2 players. As you can see, I've got 2 players here, the scout and the soldier. We wake up here in the hibernatorium. So we wake up in the ship, we've been jarred out of hypersleep, and we find a dead body. This guy's mutilated. We don't really know what's going on. So now we need to start exploring the ship, trying to figure out what's going on. Some key components of the ship are the hibernatorium. This is where the hibernation chambers are. They're currently closed after we get out, and they can be opened again as time progresses. This is the round tracker. When the rounds get down to the blue rounds here, the hibernatorium chambers will open. Also up here, there's the cockpit. Here you can check the coordinates. You can also change the coordinates of where we're going. This is an interesting mechanic because there's 4 places we can be going: Earth, deep space, Venus, or Mars. And every game it's going to be different. So it always starts on B. So let's see what's B. Where are we going this game? We're currently going to deep space. So someone would need to change the coordinates in order for us to win, to be able to go, because we really want to go to Earth. Some objectives could make us go other places, but we really want to go to Earth most of the time. So someone would have to change that. You can pretend to change it and tell people wrong information. There's a lot of different deception that can be involved in the game. Another important part of the ship is the back. There are 3 engines, engine 1, 2, and 3. In order for the ship to not blow up at the end of the game, we need to have at least 2 of these engines working. So randomly they're placed here. There's 2 engine tiles. One's red and one's green. The top tile will indicate if it's working or broken. Oh, so this one's damaged. So let's kind of check. Let's check them all here. Ah, that one's working. Okay. And engine number 3 is working. So technically the ship is in order. Because what's going to happen is when the round tracker gets all the way down to 0, the ship is going to hyper jump, and everyone that's not in the hibernation chamber or off the ship is going to die. And then if the engines aren't working, everyone in the hibernation chambers will also die. So we need to make sure that those are at least 2 out of the 3 are working. So at the start of the game, we get an objective. We get 2 objectives, actually. We get a personal objective and a corporate objective. Usually the personal, like it says, is more personal to just your character, where the corporate objective, there's like a company that has some kind of motive. They want the ship for themselves, or they have some kind of motive that's going on, and we're working for them, essentially. So here you can tell there's 2. So let's look at this one. The personal would be you and at least 1 other character must survive. Best friends forever. Okay. And this one, player 5's character cannot survive, or your character is the only survivor. So that one's not quite as nice. So you get 2, and then later in the game, you will actually have to choose which one. As you see the game progress, you get to choose which objective you want to pursue. So what you do throughout the game is you explore the room tiles. Let me kind of go over one of the player boards. So here's the player board for the scout. They're all basically the same. There's different colors. So here's the basic actions that you can take. Okay, you can move to a new room. You can shoot or melee attack the aliens that are in the room with you, or intruders, excuse me. You can pick up heavy items. You can trade items or cards with other people, or you can craft. These are the items you can craft from the item cards that you pick up. On your turn, so what we're going to do is we have our own personal deck. We start with some weapons too, like you start with a weapon and some other weapons you can unlock throughout the game. And then you get your own personal deck of action cards. So here's the action deck for the scout. Okay, so what you do is you pick 5. Those are going to be your cards for this round. Every turn you get to spend 2 actions. In order to spend an action, you have to discard a card, or basically use a card to pay for that action, or you can use the card's actions. Okay, so for example, I could use this card. It costs 2 actions, and that would be the end of my turn. I would use the text on the card. Or if I wanted to do one of the actions from here, I could spend this card, so I could say discard this one to move, because movement costs 1 action. Careful movement would cost 2, so I would have to pay 2 cards to do a careful movement. The way that movement works, it's pretty simple. So what the first thing you do is you choose which room you're going to go to, you move. Every room tile, it's different every game, by the way. Every room tile is going to have one of these tiles on top. You're going to flip it over first. It's going to tell you 2 things. 1, the condition of the room. That's this one's malfunctioning. And 2, it's going to tell you how many items you can loot in the room. So this room, let's flip it over. We have found the cabins. Okay. This room will start with 2 items. So I'm going to take this item marker and I'm going to put it facing the red arrow, showing that indicating there's 2 items. When we loot the room, it'll go down to 0 eventually. Okay. And then it's going to start malfunctioning. So I would actually place a malfunction token on it. We can't use that room until that malfunction token is gone. Now that I've gone here, I have to roll for noise. You do this every time you move, almost. There's a couple exceptions. I'll let you know what those are. So I would roll that. So I rolled a 2. So every one of these corridors has a number on it. This happens to be corridor number 2 from my room. So I would place a noise token. Okay. There. Now, if I ever roll to have to place a noise token in a corridor where there's already a noise token, that's when an encounter happens. Okay, that's when all the noise tokens are removed and I get a big bad alien that comes in. So let's just say I rolled a 2. Crap, I got an encounter. I've got my little Nemesis bag here, and I've got tokens in here indicating the different kinds of intruders that can come out. So, ooh, this is an interesting one. This is a crawler, I believe. So that's what that symbol indicates. So I would get the crawler. So he would come in. First we have to see whether or not he hits me. Okay, this number on the back, if I had less than 1 card in my hand, he would hit me, but he doesn't. So he comes in, and then now I'm in combat, and I can't do anything but fight him or run away on any of my turns, okay? Then I can continue to take actions. The other actions that you can take if I wasn't in combat, or in combat I could shoot or melee attack him. You use these die, okay, and the different symbols indicate the different kinds of aliens, so you roll it, see if you hit them, and you spend your ammo. You can also melee attack, which you can hit them, but it's harder to hit them, and you can also get hit back. You can pick up heavy items, like, for example, some objectives you want. This guy was like your friend, and you want to take him home with you, so you got to pick him up. He becomes a heavy item you have to pick up. And you can also trade in craft items. So let's say you can also loot the room. So if I were to loot this room, I would turn this down. There are 4 different kinds of items. Green are more like, what's the word? Healing based. Red are more attack based. Yellow are more like objects that help you with rooms and different things like that. And then these are the crafted items, okay? And you can use those to craft those. So basically we're just going around. Once I run out of cards, I can't take any more actions and I have to pass. And then once everyone's passed, we go down in the round. Okay. Also, every round, the aliens themselves mutate and become harder. They become bigger and badder and stronger. A couple of other things that are really important. So, in order to win, we need usually to go to Earth. We need to complete our objective and go to Earth. So you can go in the hibernatorium and make sure that the ship is going to Earth, and then you can technically win and go to Earth. Or there's these escape pods here on the side. Okay, you can get in one of those escape pods and leave as well. Some of the rooms help you unlock the escape pods. There's some cards that let you do that. And another way you can do it is over here, indicated by this tracker. There's a self-destruct sequence that you can initiate. If you do that, after 6 rounds, the ship will blow up. But once the round tracker gets to these orange boxes, these will automatically open up. And then you can enter them and you can leave. And notice each one has 2 seats. So each escape pod can fit 2 people. Once you jump in, you can leave, or you can wait for a buddy, but you risk intruders coming in and you have to get in a fight, and that's not a good thing. So there's a lot of deception going on. There's a lot of backstabbing. I know there's been times where I've been in a room and I thought someone was my friend, and then they leave and they close all the doors, because you can close the doors of the rooms, and I'm stuck with all these aliens. The ship can also catch on fire, and the fire can spread, and if it spreads too much, the ship explodes. There's just so much going on here. There's tons of different kinds of aliens. I'll go over them in the segment after this. But just a lot going on. The game takes like 2 to 3 hours. There's a lot of strategy involved. But let's get into how I actually feel about the game. Alright, so now I'm going to go into how I feel about the game. I love it. I love this game. It is so much fun. It is such a thematic, great experience every time it comes to the table. Okay, this game is long. This game takes multiple hours. But that's what I like about it. It's like a movie. It unfolds, and the story unfolds slowly over time, and every game is just so completely different. I mean, there's so many stories that I have with my friends from playing this game where, hey, you remember that time when you got left on the ship to fend for yourself and I took the escape pod and just ditched you and left and you were just out of luck? Hey, you remember that time when I betrayed you and closed a bunch of doors and aliens were just feasting on you? You remember that time when the fire was spreading and we couldn't do anything about it, and the fire control system room was malfunctioned, so we couldn't put it out, and then the whole ship exploded? Remember that time when I told you I changed the coordinates to Earth, but I actually sent us to Mars? Like, just so many great things that you can't do with a short game. And I love that about Awaken Realms games. I also own Lords of Hellas, and there's a lot of really cool thematic experiences in that game as well. But what I like about it is, most games, it seems like whoever created the game came up with a mechanic first and then based a theme around it. And I feel like this was the exact opposite. I feel like they had the idea for a theme. They wanted this sci-fi horror game where you feel alone on this ship and this overwhelming force of aliens is coming at you. And they were like, let's make a game on that. And they took the time to make that happen. I can't imagine actually the amount of hours of play testing that had to have gone into this game to make it work, to make sure that they thought of the theme, and all the mechanics fit in with the theme, making sure it's balanced, making sure that nothing's too overpowered. It's much taken a lot of time to make that happen, and I really like that. The component quality is great. The tokens are really, really nice, hardy. Here's some really nice tokens. I mean, here's all the aliens, or intruders, excuse me. There's so many different types. You've got the face hugger. He goes into your chest and barrels in, and you have to get him out with surgery or he'll kill you. Crawlers that aren't very tough, but if you leave them be, they become these giant breeder monsters that are super hard to defeat. You've got the queen, of course, who's just like got all these little baby aliens under her. She's really tough. You don't want her to come out. And then you've got the adult aliens. These are all the same alien, but instead of one pose, they decided we're going to make 4 different poses for the same alien, and they're all just super neat. I mean, I'm not a great painter, which is unfortunate because I would love to paint these things. They're so cool. He's leaning on like a little pole here. So just really, really great. The quality is awesome. Everything I could have expected. The art's really great. Like on the cards, it's very dark. It's every card's unique. Just tells us, just tells the story that much more. I really, really like it. So really, really pleased with that. If you have friends, like I said before, if you have friends that don't like long games, that aren't gamers, they're not going to like this game because it takes a long time to learn. It takes a long time to play. But if you're willing to put in that time and effort, it's very, very rewarding. Absolutely great game. Really, really excited about it. They have a lot of expansions coming out where you're going to like replace all these aliens with aliens that are like mind control aliens or aliens that like feast on each other to mutate more. They also have an Aftermath expansion coming out where after we leave the ship, a whole other ship docks on the ship and goes in not really knowing what had happened before. Just some really cool stuff to continue the story going, and that's what I really like about this game. Really love it a lot. I highly recommend it if you have the time. It's an expensive game, as you can imagine with all this stuff, but it's one of my prized games. I get it out. My wife wants to play it all the time. My friends want to play it all the time. I've never won the game. I die every single time I play, but it's fun every single time. So highly recommended, Nemesis by Awaken Realms. It's out from Kickstarter, but they always go to retail, so keep an eye out for it. And leave any comments or likes down below. Any questions you have for us, let us know, and we'll check you next time.